see you. It's been a while. Welcome. Give everybody a few minutes to join in. I had several more sign up yesterday afternoon. So whether you're watching this now or later, welcome to day 2 of Bootcamp. Summer Shapeshifting. Really shaping and shifting the relationship we have with our body. Today we're going to talk about shame. We're going to talk about that critical voice, especially judgment, blame, and how that perpetuates the cycle. So just take a moment, take a nice deep inhale. We'll give it another minute. We've had a few emergencies along the way. We're in Mercury retrograde. Lots going on in the cosmic forces. So just take a moment and notice for yourself. How much do you shame and blame yourself? How much is that critical voice talking you out of everything that you do? So welcome. Come on in. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully we don't have any issues on getting in today. We have a lot of planets in retrograde, which is the perfect time to do this work because it helps us to reflect back, because so much of what is underneath our relationship with foods comes from early childhood. So as we reflect back, this is really where we're going in with that gap tapping to help us to heal those parts of us. So thank you for joining me. Terry Ann Hyman here. I'm the host of the Empowered Spirit Show, and my new show coming out on Apple, on Roku, on Amazon TV with the Ethereal Network is Soul Messages. So look for that soon. Yes, very excited. I have been a hashtag shower tapper for 10 plus years. And that is kind of what prompted me to continue this work. My book, Confessions of a Shower Tapper, The Ultimate Guide to Living Your Purpose, is now 10 years old. And I do have a new book coming out, and it is this. It's Confessions of an Emotional Eater. Chapter 18 in my book talks about body confidence. And it was so apparent when I moved back to Birmingham 12 years ago, and people remembered me like, you were the fat kid in the family, right? You'd think 35 years later, they wouldn't really say that, but boy, those triggers are there. So I want to share a quick story before we tune in. Today, it's so hot here where I am, and I was outside weeding because I've been away, and the weeds are overcoming. And after like 20 minutes, I'm like, I'm done. And I went to swim. So as I'm leaving, I'm getting up, and there's a man sitting in the chair, and he had his, bathing suit on, and he looked at me, and he started just immediately talking to me. Did not know him. He's like, yeah, I haven't swam in 25 years, but I got to do it, but I just don't think I can keep it up. All right, now, didn't we talk about this yesterday? Then he said, I promise you not, he said, I have a vision. I have a vision. Johnny Westheimer, I think that's his name, is from Tarzan. He says, that's what I hold. And I just kind of chuckled. I said, yep, shape-shifting. There we go. That's exactly what we're talking about. Because yesterday we set a vision. And maybe yours isn't Tarzan, but maybe it's just something more in relevance to who you are and how you want to show up. And I think it's really important that we hold that vibration. And then what happens to most of us, because we're human, we get in that gap. And like the man was saying, I don't know if I can keep it up, and my knee, and my this, and my that. That's that critical voice talking us out of it. So I thought that was very appropriate for me to hear that conversation and to recognize, a lot of us go through that. We say one thing, but yet what we really want to do isn't happening. And that's what this is so important. That's how this is so important and how it can help us to do that. So before we jump in, let's take a moment and let's return to that vision as we tap in to our inner guidance. So wherever you are, if you can, for a moment, close your eyes. Going to light a little fire. Fire is our transformation energy. We notice the air, the element of the mind, which is what we're talking about today, coming in to clear, reframing. We call in the element of water to wash through our emotions. Let them flow. Don't hold on. No emotion is ever final. We call in the element of earth to ground us and center us, to embody this energy for our path, our soul's journey. Take a deep inhale, expanding the breath up the body. And as you exhale, just drop right into your heart. Right into the deepest part of your heart. Feel that connection, your spirit and the greater spirit. Know that you are loved, guided, protected. Feeling all this energy coming in around us. As we call in our Reiki master teachers, sending Reiki, calling in the angels to open the heart with joy and love, calling in the crystal beings for amusement and magnification. Now call in your higher self right above the crown to help you receive these messages and understand your heart, your light. Taking another deep inhale and exhale as we slow down. And right here in the deepest part of your heart, return to that vision for you, your path showing up. If you haven't set one, what is that? How would you like to see and hear and feel and know yourself? What is that vision? Imagine, pretend, visualize. I use often because we want to open up all the senses to embody, step into this energy so that we can hold that vibration. Feel that for you. Inhaling and exhaling. Pulling all that energy right back into the body, grounding your energy. And as you're ready, blinking the eyes back open. Coming back. Always feels good to pause. Come back to that vision, and that is what we want to do every day. Come back to that vision as often as you can. Because our body and the mind, neuroscience shows us we need to keep repeating those new pathways. And one of the biggest distractions is our critical mind. That judging we do, that shaming and that blaming that we do, it's really hard. One of the things I talked about in my emails and my posts and all, and even in the book, is about fat talk. How many times do we engage in that kind of conversation? Now, maybe you don't call it fat talk, but maybe you're talking to someone, yeah, I don't feel good. I don't feel good either. And you start complaining together. And in some ways, it kind of like builds like a camaraderie. I know sometimes the young kids, they do that, like they don't want to make themselves better, but they're going to then go into it. But what it does is it brings our energy down. And so I do this with my sisters. They're like, oh, I don't feel good. And then we start, and it's like, wait. This doesn't help us. Because what we're doing is in reinforcing those old patterns. And maybe it just wasn't from you. Maybe it came from your mother or your father or the other siblings in your house or your friends or your teachers criticizing you. How can you show up for like that? I know in my early years, I wanted to dance. And I had a little belly. So all of that pinching on my waist and like, you're not ever going to get there, those energies come back around. So when we work with tapping, we can release those. But what we want to do is notice who's doing that talking. And more importantly, who's doing the listening? How much are you listening to that critical voice within you? Just like that man sitting there today. Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to come back and do it. He's buying into his story. He did it once. He made it great. So instead of saying, I did it once, great, I'm going to come back and do it again. It's like, I don't know if I can come back tomorrow. What happens? We raise our energy. We drop our energy. Instead, we want to continue to raise it to build those new pathways. I'm a Toltec student, so I do a lot of dream time and follow the work of, I've had some great teachers that came out of Don Miguel. And one of the things he talks about in The Voice of Knowledge, which is a really beautiful book, talks about the 4 agreements, but he talks about the whole idea of reminding us of a profound and simple truth. The only way to end our emotional suffering and restore our joy in living is to stop believing in the lies, mainly about ourselves. With our attention focused on all the knowledge in our head, we no longer perceive the world through the eyes of love. We only perceive what we have learned to believe. Does that resonate with you? Michael Singer talks about this a lot too. Like, who are you listening to? Who's doing all that chatter of the mind? So when we have a vision and we tell ourselves we can't do it, or we lose it for a day, and he's like, see, I knew I couldn't, and then we start blaming, that perpetuates the cycle. I'm sure many of you have heard of Brené Brown and her whole studies on shame. It's one of the things she talks about. The more we shame ourselves, the more we perpetuate the cycle. If we looked at that scale of consciousness, David Hawkins, shame is way down here. And so it keeps us in that vibration of repeating that pattern. So if I'm not eating well on one day and like, oh man, I'm so bad, I can't stand it, when am I ever going to learn? That just perpetuates the pattern. Now, one of the things she talks about, which is very interesting, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't, guilt. Guilt is actually a little higher on that scale of consciousness. And as she says, guilt will help you to do something, brings you more into action. So the first thing we want to do is stop the shaming. But when we notice it, maybe you can switch the vibration a little bit to feeling a little guilty. Guilty of shaming yourself, guilty of not doing it, so that then you say, okay, I can do it. And immediately what we want to do is turn that around. You know, I struggle with, and I talk about this a lot in my new book coming up, and maybe you do too, but like in the mornings getting dressed, especially in between seasons, right? I know this all the time. It's summer, because summer you got to have different clothes and you got to take them off and you got to wear, tank tops and my arms, I talk about all the time. But standing in my closet in the morning sometimes can be the biggest bummer ever. What am I going to wear? Nothing fits. Oh my gosh, here I am again. And what happens? I've done my yoga, I've done my routine, I feel good, my breath work, and then all of a sudden I do that again. So I spiral down. But if I can instead recognize I do have something to wear, how fortunate, put something on and stop the shaming, then I'm going to have a better day. And then my chances of continuing this journey and holding the vision is going to be greater and greater. How many of you do that? Maybe it's not your clothes closet, maybe it's the mirror, the dreaded mirror. How many times do you go around looking at different mirrors to see how you look? I know I do. I can go to one mirror, look fine, go another, oh my gosh, go back and change clothes, and then the cycle, and then all of a sudden it's late, and So that's what we want to watch out for. Lots of times for me with the clothes, it's just like rearrange your closet, Terry, right? Like, okay, summer's different. Let's rearrange the closet, right? So sometimes it can be simple things like that that help us to change it, yet the old patterns come back in. So I know for me that chatter of the mind, not engaging, sometimes it's like, okay, I know there's certain people I cannot talk to first thing in the morning. I know that. I love them dearly, but I can't engage in it. And I know this about myself now. So take a moment for you and notice, do you do this too? Is it with someone else? Maybe, misery loves company idea. Doesn't really work that way. There's actually been a study by the Psychology of Women Quarterly found that 93% engaged in this kind of talk, dubbed fat talks, I didn't make up that term, and a third did so regularly. The study revealed that those who complained about their weight more often were likely to have lower satisfaction with their bodies, regardless of their actual size. Words carry immense power and can significantly impact our self-esteem. So this is the pattern that we must break. So first and foremost, when you notice it coming up, it's immediate shifting. Give yourself gratitude. Give yourself gratitude for showing up today. Like the man I was talking to at the pool today. I was like, just give yourself gratitude. You did it. You just said it hadn't been 25 years since you swam, and look, you're here. And he kind of looked at me and like, yeah, I did. Right? I did too. Right? Like swimming. Yeah. In a bathing suit. That's another thing I talk about. So sometimes we have to be, kind of careful around those mirrors. I'd rather be in the bathing suit right now than not be in the bathing suit because I'm worried about what people will say. Worried about what I'll say. Probably more intense. But yet, instead, I like to say, go out, feel that freedom, and be excited that you can actually do something active or get in the water. Maybe it's just put your feet in. That's okay too. Maybe it's just go in the woods. Maybe it's get outside. But get away from the patterns that we establish. So if we apply the idea of the gap tapping to this, going back to our vision, think about your vision. Now think about all those things in between that keep you from getting there and how much of that is your own self-criticism. On a scale of 1 to 10, give yourself a number. How much of that is your own self-criticism? So we'll see if we can get it down so that we can reframe that energy. So that we can start our days or even end our days feeling good about what we have done and about this body that takes us around. I know for me, I've had 2 children. Hello, I'm 68 years old. Hello. Do I give myself enough credit for that? You bet I've been giving myself enough credit for that. My daughter's pregnant now, and I'm seeing her, and of course that brings back a lot of memories, right? But we do. We age. That's okay. Society tells us it's not. Society tells us we have to look ageless and keep going. But no, we have to honor the bodies that we're in. It's kind of the journey of the soul, right? We come in to learn these lessons. And part of my lesson, I was looking back over some readings I had with teachers and my handprints. I don't know if you ever had handprints. I had a woman on my podcast. We were talking about it. But part of my own lesson is learning to embody my energy, myself in this body, which is what I'm doing right here by helping with this. All right. So on that scale of 1 to 10, I'm assuming you know tapping. I sent out a thing. Follow along with me. What we want to do is set that level of distress, and we want to try and bring it down to a 2 or 3 so that we can reframe. And we're going to start at the karate chop. And what I want you to do is just repeat the phrases after me. All right. And maybe I don't exactly get yours, but that's the beautiful part of barring benefits, we call it in a group, is that if it's not your words, you can change your words as we tap. And we all get benefits from doing this. All right. So here we go. We're going to go through a couple of rounds. All right. So right here at the karate chop. So even though I have this vision of how I want to show up, I'm not sure I can get there, but I love and accept myself no matter what. Even though I have this vision, and I always talk myself right out of it, I love and accept myself no matter what. So even though I have this vision, but all I do is criticize myself about this vision, but I accept where I am no matter what. And now we're going to move point to point, bringing up all the issues that come up with this. So right here at the eyebrow. Oh my gosh. I'll never get to that vision. I've tried before, underneath the eyes. Underneath the nose here. I don't know if I can do this. On the chin. I never make it. At the collarbone. Here I am trying again. Underneath the collar, underneath the armpits. Who do I think I am? But I have to change. This is an old habit right here at the eyebrows. Side of the eye. I just don't know if I can. Underneath the eyes. I don't have the willpower. Underneath the nose. This isn't about willpower. On the chin. This is about recognizing the emotional body. At the collarbones. And how you talk yourself about them. How you talk to yourself about them. Underneath the arms. Wonder where I got this from. Top of the head. I don't know. It's been going on for so long. At the eyebrows. It's just easier to look at what isn't good. Side of the eye. Because if I give myself a compliment, underneath the eyes, I must be bragging. On the chin. But yet, on the other hand, if I only criticize myself, collarbone, then that's where I'm going to stay, criticizing myself. Underneath the arms. But maybe I can stop shaming myself. It hasn't worked this far, top of the head. At the eyebrow. Why do I think it will work now? Side of the eye. Yeah, it is an old habit. I used to be criticized. And I still hear that criticism in my head. A mixture of my mom, myself, other people. It's hard to get rid of all that chatter. I'm never going to break this cycle. I don't know, maybe I could. It hasn't been working this far. Keeps me stuck, I just don't like myself when I do this either. So maybe I can find more honor in myself for all the little things that can create a better viewpoint for me. Oh no, I can't. I'm so used to the shame and the blame. Who am I to think I can do this? How many times have you started on this diet? How many times have you broken this? That is the chatter going on. I don't know. I feel like I'm on repeat half the time anyway. No wonder I keep repeating the same habits. Maybe I can move up the scale from shame. Maybe I can try feeling a little guilty. Maybe I can just try loving myself. All right, right here at the collarbone, just take a breath and just notice what came up for you. What are those words that keep repeating and repeating and repeating in your head? Every morning getting dressed, every morning looking at the shower, maybe it's getting ready to go to work or whatever it is for you. What are those words? What are they telling you? Do a few more rounds. And if you have found words that come up, say your words. All right. What I'm noticing, what's kind of common and working with my clients on this particular issue is kind of what I'll bring up. All right. See if it resonates underneath the armpits. I'm just not any good. Top of the head. Everybody's better than me. Everybody looks better. Everybody seems to know how to express how they feel. Not me. I got to stuff my face with food. I should just quit eating. I've tried that too. That doesn't work. So the cycle continues. I start out, I have a vision. I'm going to do it. And then I don't do it. And then the self-criticism, the shame, the blame. And here I am, right back, and not feeling good enough. What if I could stop it? What if in this very moment, right here, right now, I could find something to feel good about myself? One thing. One thing I could feel good about. And that could be a starting point for me. Just one thing. What would that one thing be? Take another breath right here at that karate chop. Right here when we tap here, this helps us to get into that deep part. This is where I call us in the gap. What is that deeper part of you? So right here, if you're really honest with yourself, is there one thing you can find that can help you feel good about yourself? I always talk about my hands. I like my hands. I like my feet. And so I kind of do. I reflect back on that. Okay, I do love my hands. What is it for you? One thing. Name that one thing for you. I love my hands. I love my feet. Maybe it's two things. And if I can do that, maybe there's more about myself that I can love. Maybe I can love the kindness in my heart. The kindness my eye shows. My good nature. The fact that I am still kicking along. Have been through many ups and downs. But I am right here, right now. Take a breath. Notice how you feel. Let's come back to the karate chop point. I choose to love and accept myself no matter what. Take a moment, stretch your hands, stretch the body. If you have some water, drink some little water. Water helps us to process emotions, not food. We'll get to that. So how do you feel? Notice how you feel. I do find that noticing that little excitement, like, okay, I can find something I love. Why not? If you want to put in the chat, you can. Did you find something to help you lift that energy? Doesn't that feel better than the constant criticism? We're our worst critic. And I promise you, everybody is doing the same thing. So you may think, oh, how do they have it? But I guarantee you, they're also doing the same thing. So this is what we stop. And this is how we can, with this tapping, get in there and like break it apart. And we do. We're not really taught, I know as women, we're not really taught to really give ourselves credit. It's kind of like push ourselves in the back. Granted, I was born in the South, raised in the South. You know, behind everybody else, put yourself last. But if we don't put ourselves first, then we don't have energy for everything else. So when we can find those things that are good about ourselves, that's what we want to enhance. That's how we stop that self-criticism. So we want to notice who's doing the talking, notice who's doing the listening. Now, as we talked about yesterday, what we want to do is when we hear that voice, we want to honor it. Okay, here it is again, that critical voice. Thank you for showing up. I recognize this to be the old pattern. And that's how we start to reframe it. So let's do a round of that where we reframe. I do like to change hands on the reframe. All right, hopefully your numbers come down. If not, what I do suggest is you continue tapping, right? And we do have the VIP right after this, and that's where you do get individual help. It's not too late to join that. So just changing hands and just here we go, tapping again as we go to close. I recognize I've moved some energy, and I choose to love and accept where I am. I recognize that critical voice needs to come down because it only perpetuates the cycle. But I choose to love myself no matter what. I recognize there is something to love about me, and I choose to accept myself exactly where I am. At the eyebrows, I recognize there is a lot about me. Not just one thing, but many things about my body, about my mind. I do have a lot of emotions. That's a good thing. I feel. I can recognize I do have good things about me. And start to shift this so I'm not always criticizing. It hurts when I criticize. So I choose right here, right now, to find one thing, or two or three, that when I hear that voice, I can shift the energy, offer gratitude, and immediately go into a more positive mindset. Because right here, right now, I make an agreement with myself to let go of that fat talk, that self-criticism, and honor myself. And when it shows up, I simply love it, thank it, and choose a different statement of truth. Not the lies I feed myself, but of truth. I am living and breathing. I have good attributes, and I choose right here, right now, karate chop, to love and accept myself no matter what. Release the hands, take a nice deep inhale, breathe up, stretch, stretch, stretch. Let all that energy move through the body. Exhale out. And just notice how you feel. So your homework tonight is to continue tapping on this, to keep noticing things you like about yourself, from the smallest to the biggest. It doesn't matter. Give yourself credit. Tomorrow, we're going to get into the idea of cravings and what those cravings are really trying to tell us. I'll hope you join me for that. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale all the way down as we go to close. Gratitude for showing up for you. Hold your vision, reminding yourself you can and you are showing up for you. Shapeshifting your relationship with food and yourself. Thank you so much for joining me. To your spirit, namaste. VIP will stay on. I'm going to stop this.